A lot of folks are saying Washington State and Oregon State will not go to the Big 12, but they're not really giving you a reason why. This is Locked On Big 12.
You are Locked On Big 12, your daily podcast on the Big 12 Conference, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Happy Thursday, everybody. Welcome into Locked On Big 12. I'm Drake Toll from ESPN Central Texas. Thank you for making Locked On Big 12 your first listen every single day. Look, on the Washington State-Oregon State thing, I want to first say, I'm not 100% sure this is going to happen. I'm not trying to sell you the idea that, well, this is the period, this is all that there is. Now, a lot of things, a lot of evidence points in that direction. $320 million, the fact that there's this grace period, the College Football Playoff Committee has the Washington State president on the board, so they can't move forward until something's done with those teams, and those teams want to be Power 5, so we can't move forward until those teams are Power 5. There are so many ins and outs that point to Washington State and Oregon State being in a Power 5 conference, and that would most likely be the Big 12. But there have been other outlets, like, the Monty Show, we talked about that, and some other big outlets that have said, you know what, nope, this isn't happening. It's so weird to me, people are speaking in finality, right? This is finite. The period's not going to happen. That's a weird thing to do. I mean, I'm saying, look, it's pretty likely based on the information that we've been giving, and there have been other folks who have said, nope, not going to happen. Not only that, they keep coming out and saying, this is clickbait, this is clickbait. Guys, here's what, hey, let's just you and me right here. These people who keep saying this topic is clickbait, notice that they titled their YouTube videos Washington State and Oregon State to the Big 12. Will it happen? Is it possible? Maybe. They're titling these videos so that you click on them. And guess what? You want the big secret, guys? You want the big secret? I am too. I want you to watch it, but at the same time, when you click on my video, usually what the title of the video is always goes along with what the video is. And I'm going to back it up with evidence. I keep watching all these shows where analysts, I mean, if you're a Washington State and Oregon State fan, another Big 12 fan, you're like, oh, I wonder where the conference is going to expand next. Where will my TCU Horned Frogs be playing in expansion next? You want information and you want sources, right? Well, I brought on some pretty good sources with pretty good research. And I keep hearing these other shows, these other people who I look up to, who I admire, who I've always listened to. And right now I'm questioning them because I'm thinking, they all kind of show up, sit around the table and say, you know what, this is not going to happen. It's stupid. There's no way. But they don't give any information why. Nobody is, they say like, the brand's not big enough. It's not going to happen. But they don't give you any research. No statistics, no numbers. Just a lot of, I don't think this is going to happen. This is clickbait. Okay, then defend your argument. Like, it's so weird that I feel like I'm kind of on my heels here, like trying to support a thing that has so much evidence. I want somebody else who's talking about the Big 12 to look at this and say, I wonder what the evidence does say. I wonder what could be here. But no, nobody will do that. Everybody has simply written this off as a crazy idea when the numbers are right there. The facts are right there. And I know, like, Monty talked about this, and there have been a couple people who have been like, well, I reached out to the Big 12, and they said that there's no interest right now. It's not going to happen right now. Yeah, I reached out to Ted Kaczynski, and I asked him if he was a Unabomber. I reached out to John F. Kennedy and said, hey, John, are you going to invade Cuba anytime soon? There is an entire legal process going on with Washington State and Oregon State right now where they feel like they have leverage on the Pac-12. The last thing they want to do is jeopardize that by it getting out. They'd be in conversations with anyone. I feel like some of this stuff is just common sense. Like, I shouldn't have to do a commentary video on all these response videos because every one that I watch, it's like Washington State, Oregon State, never going to the Big 12, never happening. Right? We're speaking finally. They know, these people know that it's never going to happen. Well, I know that it might. I don't know that it will, but I know that it might. And I'm giving you facts and numbers, and I'm waiting for somebody else to bring facts and numbers. Do I have to, like every one of these comes out, do I have to come in, do a video that goes, great, XYZ said this is not going to happen. What was their example? What was their reason? That John F. Kennedy said they're not going to invade Cuba? Well, I guess they're not invading Cuba. What do you expect? If I email somebody in the Big 12 at marketing, who they get back fast, man, they're good. They are good. If I email somebody in the Big 12 at marketing right now, it's like, hey, ma'am, when are you guys going to add Oregon State, Washington State? They're going to respond, we are not looking into that at this time. Look at Brett Yormark at Media Days. He walked back his statement that the Big 12 is open for business. He was like, yeah, I meant that in a couple different ways, not just schools. Then a month later, he adds 4 teams from the Pac-12. Like right around that time, we were all going, well, I guess the Big 12's not expanding any further. When Altimore was right there for a little bit, we were like, oh, Tony Altimore said it, that nobody's coming from the Pac-12 to the Big 12. Maybe he's correct. And he wasn't. So I don't get why all these big analysts are saying this is never going to happen. What, because some, little Locked On Big 12 podcast said it? Nobody can believe it. It must be a conspiracy theory. This guy doesn't have 40,000 subscribers. There's no way it's real. Like, dude, I don't need to be taken seriously by other people in the Big 12 podcast world. That doesn't give me any enjoyment. I don't get a gold star for that from my boss. I just keep wondering, why is this being thrown away like it's just not ever going to be possible? Why can't they look at this with some kind of objective lens, with some kind of, like people love to use the word truth, the phrase truth serum, which I think is like the most 95-year-old man thing in the world. Oh, yeah, a little dose of truth serum. My father would say that. He's in those progressive commercials where, like, you don't have to be your parents. Truth serum. And I want to do this, like, with the utmost professionalism, too. There are shows in the Big 12 realm that I love. Like, I watch them all the time, every day. And then to hear them bring up topics that I'm talking about, and I'm excited to hear them talk about it. I'm excited to hear the dialogue. They're going to look at the research. They're going to take the argument that we made that it's possible, and they're going to use it, and they're going to somehow say, this makes sense, and this makes sense, but this doesn't, and here's how the money doesn't work out, and here's how this year doesn't line up with this year. And they don't. Is that not weird to you, right? Do you not see what I'm saying? Where you're like, They keep saying that what I'm doing is, clickbait, or anybody who's talking about Washington State, Oregon State is clickbait, but then their videos are titled, will they come to the Big 12? Are they going to be in the Big 12? Just so you click on them and then hear them say no. I don't know, man. You decide for yourself, but it's weird that there's a lot of evidence to this and nobody will debunk it correctly. Nobody's made an argument that I thought, you're right, I'm going to come down off of this one because that's a really based take. No. It is a base take? I love eBay Motors. Coming up, best bets, beat the books, Big 12. This, Locked On Big 12, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. eBay Motors. Passion, drive, and patience brings home the winning trophy every time. eBay Motors has everything you need to maintain your vehicle and level it up to peak performance, from superchargers, roof racks, exhaust kits, LED lights, and more. Whether you're into speed, power, or style, eBay Motors. 122 million parts. Your number one ride or die. You'll always get exactly what you need, guaranteed, right? Guaranteed fit as well. Every time, or your money back, because eBay Motors, you're burning rubber, not cash. With all the parts you need at the prices you want, it's easy to turn your car into the MVP. Bring home the win. Keep your ride or die alive at ebaymotors.com. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply. eBay. Guaranteed fit. Only available to U.S. customers. Beat the books. Come on, guys. Let's win some money this week. Did we win money last week? I did. I won a few $100, Monopoly dollars, because it's illegal in Texas to bet. But I won a few $100 Monopoly dollars betting on college football. Kansas State and Oklahoma State. You know what? This week, instead of doing like a best bets thing with these 5 games, I'm going to give you my pick. And I think I like all of these. Kansas State will beat Oklahoma State by more than 12 points. It's a 12-point line right now. Do you understand Kansas State scores? They put up 482 yards per game. Oklahoma State allows 371 yards per game. The Oklahoma State offense is terrible. They don't have a quarterback. They have 3 of them, and none of them are quarterback. Alan Bowman, but not even comma, B-U-T, no, just B-U-T-T. 12? You're giving me 12? I don't care that it's at Oklahoma State on Friday night. I don't think anybody's going to be there. I don't know. I've always liked Mike Gundy in Oklahoma State, but something bad is happening right now. They have lost their last 2 games, and they just look bad. Something needs to change. I don't know what it is. It's going to take me a bit to figure it out, but this is rough. Kansas State by 12. Lock it in. If Oklahoma State wins, the Big 12 is screwed, by the way. OU, Texas, the Cotton Bowl in Dallas. The eyes of Texas are upon you. Texas wins by probably 10, 14. Oklahoma puts up 500 yards per game. They allow 319 yards per game. When you think about that, of course they allow more yards per game because they put up more yards and more points per game. I just think Texas is the better team. Quinn Ewers is the better quarterback out of him and Dylan Gabriel. Statistically, maybe not, but he hasn't had to do it statistically. Jonathan Brooks is better than anyone that Oklahoma has offensively. Xavier Worthy is the best receiver in the game, maybe the best overall player in the game. Maybe that's a hot take. I think Xavier Worthy is Texas' best offensive player. I do. I have Texas losing. No, what? Texas winning against Oklahoma by a lot. Double digits. UCF, Kansas. Kansas by 2. Devin Neal's good at football. If John Rice Plumlee's back, great. If Timmy McClain starts, also great. 2 guys that are good at football. The UCF offense has not been the problem. The defense has. And the Kansas defense is not elite, but they're at home. They look a lot better. Coming off that Texas game, UCF, you just got your back broken against Baylor. I don't know how UCF responds. They're going to go 0-3 in Big 12 play. Kansas gets the win. Texas Tech at Baylor. This one's crazy. Open as a Baylor 2-point favorite. Over under 60 is nuts as well. I love the under there. And I also like the Baylor Bears to win. 2 teams that aren't very good. Personal for Baylor because Joey McGuire's on the other sideline who came from Baylor. Baylor actually still, with the terrible offense, has more yards per game than Texas Tech. Baylor is a worse defense, I think, than Texas Tech, but the defense looked so good when it needed to in the fourth quarter. I think Baylor carries that momentum into a night home game. Blake Shapen is back. He is much better than Baron Morton or Tyler Shuck. Both of those guys who are supposed to be good have stunk this year, which is so disappointing. So disappointing. Richard Reese looks better too now for Baylor, by the way. I was really looking forward to Texas Tech being in Arlington, and that has been sad. TCU -6 against Iowa State. Hammer it. Yeah, they lost. So did Iowa State. Iowa State beat Oklahoma State, who may be the worst team in the Big 12 outside of Houston. TCU lost to West Virginia, who just runs the ball down everyone's throat, and they're good at football now. TCU has a 65% chance to win, according to ESPN. Chandler Morris, I don't think is that good of a quarterback. Monty Bailey's good. And even though I don't think he's that good of a quarterback, TCU you just can't lose to Iowa State, man. Iowa State's 2-3. They're going to struggle to win 4 games. Don't be one of the ones they win. Horned Frogs win by 10 or 15. They win by I take an alt spread, 14 points. So the best bets beat the book. Kansas State -12, Texas -6.5, Baylor money line, Kansas -2, TCU -6. Boring week, a lot of favorites. This has been and always will be. Come back tomorrow for other stuff. Watch college football kickoff live for an hour this Friday from Central Time, 11 a.m. to noon. No, 10 a.m. to noon. This has been and always will be Locked On. Thanks for making it your first listen every single day. Dose Grande.